Today for part 2, we're going to be talking about a part of the second step in reporting and membership. Okay, my name is Rachel Klein. I will be your presenter today. And it's really important to keep in mind when you're building a report that you have step 1 and step 2. And step 1 is the criteria or who we need to see on the report. That is how you decide the people that are going to show up on the report itself, and that's where you also set your sort. So when you use the criteria to pick the certain people you need, what order do those people need to print out on the report? That's done here on the sort tab, and then if you want to save the report and reuse it, you can do that down at the bottom here under Save Selections. So if you need a refresher on that or you missed the first part that we did back on Tuesday, it is out on the Resource Center. You can head out there and watch that event at any time, okay? But today we are going to be focusing on the step 2 screen. Okay, so the step 2 screen is built up of multiple sections. So down at the bottom, you are going to see all of the people who meet the criteria that you put in on step 1. Here at the bottom of step 2, everyone is going to be listed in alphabetical order. Okay. Everyone by default is going to be checked because they meet the criteria. You can easily uncheck everyone and just check a couple people if you would like to, or you can leave everyone checked, which is typically going to be how you will run reports because you put your criterion of who you wanted back on the first step. Okay. Up here on the Options tab, you have 6 different reporting options to choose from. Today we're going to be talking about basic and all information. But as you change to different options here in the list, you can see that our drop box below updates as well. Okay, so with each of these 6 options up here for your layouts, you're going to have different saved layouts that are going to be available for you down below. So something to keep in mind with these saved reports. You can reuse these saved reports no matter what criteria you put in back on step 1. Okay, so again, step 1 is who you want. Step 2 is going to be how you want that information organized or displayed for those people. Okay, so a lot of times you can set up a report that's a name-only report, and that name-only report, you can use it regardless of what criteria you put back in on step 1. Okay, so lots of flexibility there with the different layouts. So let's talk first about this basic report. The basic report, if you're not running a directory, is going to be your most commonly used report layout you will choose here on step 2. Everyone will have a template basic columnar report in their list. You cannot delete this report. This will always be here. If I select this template basic columnar report here on step 2 and I go ahead and hit print, this report will always give me name, address, phone number. Okay? No matter what criteria you're choosing, back on step 1, this is going to be the data for those people that's going to be pulled and built on the report. Okay, so I didn't put any criteria in on step 1, therefore I'm getting everybody. If I want to go back and say I just want people who have an active status code, I can do status, I'll choose active, add that selection to my query. So right now it's only pulling active members, uncheck visitors off here to the right. Say OK to input that criteria. My sort is going to be in alphabetical order. And then next. Now here back on step 2, I'm still going to go with a basic report. I'm still going to go with a basic columnar report. And as I hit print, I'm going to get, again, name, address, phone, because those are the 3 columns included on my basic report. However, the only people that I'm going to see on my report now are going to be people that have that active status code right here, okay? So let's say I don't need name, address, and phone. Let's say I just need a name-only report. you can easily create that and then reuse it in the future. So next to my template, I'm going to hit the New button. I'm going to call it Name Only Report. Say OK. And then my column selector is going to open. And this is where you tell it what columns or what information you need on the layout of your report. So right now, name, address, primary phone. Let's say I just need name. That's all I want to see for these people. So I'm going to remove those other two columns. I can double click a field to move it over to the left, taking it off of the report, or I can highlight the field and hit this big chunky left facing arrow, and that will push it over to the left, taking it off the report. Okay, so whatever you have over here on the right under visible columns, this is what will appear on your layout. So for now, I'm going to say OK, and I'm going to hit print. And just like that, now when I run the report, I'm going to only get names because that's the only column I have selected. Okay. Now, something else I want to go into. Because this report, I only have one column selected, let's say I actually want to save some paper and I want this column to carry over here and here. So on this columnar report, I want 3 columns for name. Try to save some paper because there's a lot of wasted space over here on the side. To do that, I'm going to come back up here next to my name only report, but I'm going to hit the edit button this time. Okay, this is going to take me into the report designer, which we're going to talk about more in part 3. But what I want to tell the software here, right now, this detail section is what is defaulting to print whatever I choose in that column selector screen. Okay, but I'm going to come up here to the top, and it's kind of hard to see, but if you look up to the top of your screen, you're going to see this column button. This is where you can change the layout of the page up here with the little wrench, or you can change your columns. So right now, I'm going to add 3 columns to this report. You can also specify if you want it to go down, then across, or across, then down. I'm going to say OK. I'm going to save this. Exit out of the designer, and now when I choose name only report and I hit print, it's going to, oh, my columns were too wide. I'm sorry, let me go back in here, and I'm going to take it down to 2 columns. It just wasn't going to fit 3. Let's try again here. Print, and it should bring up that second column. Okay, so that's how you can save some paper and carry on the same column onto the side of the page here. Okay, let's talk about some other layouts that I see a lot. People will call and say, I need contact information for people that I have in the database. If that's the case, we're going to go with basic again. I'm going to hit new. And I'm going to change this report. I want it to go landscape because I want to see email addresses and cell phone numbers. So I want to give myself a little bit more room for my columnar report. Under report name, just going to call it contact info report. Say OK. And then it's going to bring up my column selector for me here. I'm going to leave address block and I'm going to leave primary phone, but I want to come over here on the left side and grab a new field. So I'm going to expand my phone email field. I'm going to move email address over, and I'm going to move cell phone over. Okay. Now this is going to be tight to fit across one page, but what I'm going to do over here is adjust my column width. 24 characters is pretty long, or 34 characters is pretty long for a name. I'm going to bring it down to 26, and same with address block. And let's do email address. Some people have long emails, but I'm going to make that a little bit smaller too. So I'm just adjusting with this down arrow here how wide my column is going to be. Okay, I'm going to say OK to this, and I'm going to hit print, and let's see if it all fits, and it does. So as you see, I switched it to a landscape page, but now I have a column for name, for address, their primary phone, their cell phone, and their email if they have it listed. Okay? Easy peasy. So now let's say I need to add one more field to this report. I want to go in and change it again. If that's the case, we're going to close the preview. And back up here at the top, I'm going to hit the Select Fields button. This is going to open that column selector back up, and then I can add one more field. Let's say I need their birthday on here as well. So here on the left under Other, I'm going to expand that, and there's lots of fields in here you can choose from. But let's grab birthday and move that over to the right. And I want that right after their address. So I'm going to use these big chunky up and down arrows to move which column number the field is going to be printed in. Say OK and print. And now I have my birthday column available as well. Okay. Let's close. Over here on the right, you are going to have 3 tabs. A Report Options tab. There's, again, just different things or adjustments you can make over here. You want to include the year in your birth date. You can check that. Or you can specify I only want it for children. So that's going to be people with a directory report order of 3, child with family. You can also choose to uppercase the last name if you wish. The reporting options are all pretty straightforward. Okay. So I don't have any kids in here. Oh, there's a kid. So there we have the year showing. Okay. And you look over here, the last name is now uppercase. Over here, you have a grouping and page break options. This is going to be specific to the report you're on, which we're still on basic. You want an alphabetic page break, you can do so, or you can include an alphabetic heading. Check both of those, show you what that looks like. So all our A's are going to be on one page, all our B's are going to be on one page, and then it's going to put a nice little big B here. And you can go in and adjust the font and font size if you want to. Right? Unlisted options. This would be when you are entering a phone, email, or an address. There is a checkbox to specify you want it unlisted, so it'll leave it off of reports. So this is where you would go and say, yes, I do want them to print, but when you print them, please include an asterisk so I know which ones are supposed to be unlisted, or you can specify that you do not want to see them at all. Okay? Reporting options is pretty straightforward. All right. Giving and pledging date range. If you are using the donations module and you are querying on giving, you can utilize this tab to adjust the date range. It says it right over here, the date range for which you would like to see giving and pledging on the report. Okay. Organization info. This is going to default to the information you put in when you first purchased the software. Sometimes people want to do something a little bit different or show the organization name a little bit different on a report. Maybe you have a preschool or something like that. You can create another organization info here and then select that when printing a report for the report header. Okay. All right, let's jump back to options, and I want to talk about next this all information report. This is a really awesome report if you are wanting to do some cleanup or if you're wanting to just see all the information that you have on individual or individuals within your database. Okay, there are templates in here just like the basic one. There's a basic all information report, and then there is a template multi-column all information report. I'd suggest looking at both of these and kind of deciding which one you like or don't like. I personally like the multi-column one because it saves some paper. Let me hit print so you can get an idea of what this looks like. It's basically going to take whomever you're queried on step 1, and it's going to print all of the information that you have for this individual. Okay, so first person in our list is Jen. Here's all of her family or household information here. And then down here, it continues on to her individual information and what you have on her. What groups or classes she's into, skills and interests that she's into, and her contact information as well. Okay, so this is just the template. This literally prints every piece of information that you have on someone. If we close the preview, you can come over here and go to the select field screen. We'll create a new report. We'll call it like membership update report or something like that. Say OK. And then in here, if there are some fields that you don't care to see included on the report, you can again remove them. So we'll get rid of geographic area, we'll get rid of comments, last updated, not too terribly worried about that. But anything that's not super helpful or that you don't need included, again, just highlight, move it off to the left to remove that report, to remove it from the report. Okay. And now, again, under all information, this report will always be here for you to reuse, regardless of what criteria you choose on step 1. And then through here, you do have some different reporting options again. This one's really important. This is a print empty fields checkbox. So before, if the person didn't have the information filled in for a field, it just wouldn't print because they didn't have it. There wasn't anything there. But if the goal of this report is to help you update people's records or get more information, you might want to print what they don't have filled in. So we would check print empty fields. And then you can also check print a line for empty field. If you do that, when you print the report then, it's going to print what they don't have filled in, and then it's going to give you space to actually write it in so you can go back into the database and update it with their information. So I've seen people print these out, hand them out to individuals, they fill in the information that's missing, turn it back in, and then you can update your records in church windows. So this can be a really handy report for things like that. Okay. And then, of course, do a page break on each person here on the grouping page break tab if that's your goal, if you want to pass it out to people. Okay. And then again, here's that unlisted options tab that you're used to. All right, one more thing I want to go over as well. This applies to basic and all information reports. If you want to adjust the font size, coloring, things like that, that is done for basic and all information in this edit button. Okay, this gets into a little bit about the report designer, which we're going to talk about I think it's in 3 events, I think. I think it might be the last one of the month, the report designer webinar. But if you want to come in here and you want to change the font color, font style, whatever it might be, all of these fields, let me zoom in a little bit, they're all treated like separate text boxes. So you have the ability to really customize each of these. But what you'll want to do is highlight the field specifically up at the top, change your font size, okay? Obviously, we have to scooch that around a little bit because it's not going to fit. But you can change all of that just like you would in Word, okay? And then you can choose what other font that you want as well. And then once you make your changes in here to get the information that you're looking for, the design that you like, then you come up here and just save the report and you can close out. Okay? Pretty straightforward stuff. Lots to learn in here. I do understand that, but there's really lots of features and tools for you to be able to customize and build the specific reports that you need.